G'day, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of the How You Can Think podcast. So, this evening on the show, as always, we have our hosts, Mr. Robert Haugh and Mr. Serge Romano, and we have our special guest, Mr. Magnus Olson from M26Fit, and all those good things, business that he's up to lately. So, this evening on the show, guys, we're going to talk about, I suppose, a word that's or a framing that's on everyone's, the tip of everyone's tongue at the moment, AI. So, gentlemen, what do we think the world is going to look like in 50 years? And I know we've spoken off camera about 50 years being basically a far, far distant land. But in terms of, I suppose, either what you're excited about or just things that you can see for the future, who wants to kick off the show tonight with this really interesting topic? Who'd like to go first?
Yeah, I'll jump in if you like, Ben.
All right, Mr. Olson, here we go.
So I've hit the 50 mark in my age a few years ago now. So I just look back in the last 50 years of my lifetime and, black and white television and dirt roads and just the evolution in technology. Motor cars is another one that springs to mind. So, and AI, like you said, has really taken over in the last 12 months, and who knows where that can take us moving forward. But I think there's a lot of movement in the science space, and I think that can be a positive in nutrition and just getting us to understand our bodies a lot better in what works and what doesn't work. Another one of the business I have is a short-term accommodation and some luxury cabins up in Maloney, and I think people are starting to get a lot more moving back into nature, and we all, I think, know the health benefits of that. And I think that moving forward, there's going to be a lot more need, and people are going to be wanting to escape the cities and just get back into nature and look at all the health benefits around those would be the biggest things for me.
Yeah, look, Magnus, and I really appreciate you sharing, I suppose the things you see from your brand's perspective, or both of your brands there. Mr. Romano, would you like to go next?
Sure. Look, I mean, obviously from further to what Magnus said, a lot of the development of technology and all the things that have happened in the last, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now you're saying, well, what's that going to look like in the next up to 50 years? I think exponentially it's going to be mind blowing, really. Probably see DeLoreans flying in the sky, right? Back to the Future, here we are. All those things are just like, I couldn't even begin to comprehend, right? But I'm still a big believer in, and I want to sort of, narrow this back down to business for a minute. I'm still a big believer that I do genuinely believe that people will still be doing business with people. And whilst the technology around us and the methodology of what we do and how we do it, and maybe we, push a button and within, 1 millisecond, I'll be able to go and sit in front of Rob to have a, my physio session with him. Who knows, right? I don't know what's going to happen there, but I do know that if I want to do business with people, that I'm still going to need to be able to do that. And so, whether it's having the ability to have proper conversations and quality conversations and to connect, and for people to like and trust so that they do business with you, I don't think AI is going to achieve that. It'll help, but it won't achieve it. So that's my thoughts.
For those people who are interested in following up more with that response, please leave some comments in the hands below. That was very thought-filled there, Serge. I appreciate that response. Rob, what have you got for us this evening tonight in this, some might say a little bit controversial, but some might say straightforward. Do you think the robots are going to take over? What do you think?
Yeah, it's AI is on everyone's mind. It's in the phrase artificial intelligence. So it's the creation of intelligence. And I sort of think about how is it going to affect people? How is it going to affect how they learn? How's it going to affect how they think? How's it going to affect how they do things? When we create something that's doing the work for us, something that's doing the thinking for us. And I think it could generally I think it can make people lazy. I think it could almost have it's one of those things where it has a great positive effect in that if you look at things like your chat GPTs out there, you can get information like that, which is great. But as I've said on a previous episode before, how does that actually help people with their ability to actually process and learn things properly, and not just memorizing things, not just doing the work for them? I think it could create a generation of lazy people if it becomes so widespread that it's used all the time. And I don't know how that looks. I don't know how AI develops into, if we're developing robots and all of a sudden our physical side of things is getting taken care of for us as well. If we're not thinking for ourselves, if we're not doing things for ourselves, what purpose do we have? That's a really big question. It's a big question for this podcast, but that's what my sort of mind goes to. And from a health perspective, if people are generally becoming lazier out there, and maybe we're not, maybe the sports become the battle of the robots, and it's not so much the sporting people going against each other, and then all of a sudden I'm out of a job, or I'm just looking after people who are sitting behind a desk all day. So I don't think there'll be too many guys that'll be able to do my job, hopefully, in the future. Maybe they'll come up with a way, but I think I'll still be around in terms of that. But it's interesting to think about. It's interesting to think about how this could all develop and how it could actually impact how people are, and just their behaviors, the way they think and the way they do things.
Yeah, look, I think where the world will be in 50 years, Rob, thank you for your response. I think I'll jump on the back of yours that, and Serge's, I guess, in a way that, yes, technological advances will change the world, but I believe ultimately communication and the capacity to do your role, whatever that may be, whether it's, a medical field, whether it's business, whether it's trade-based, whether it's fitness, there'll always be a place for the human condition. And I think that with anything new, like if we all remember Y2K, the year 2000, whether we talk about AI at the moment, whether we talk about coronavirus, whether we talk about anything, whether it's positive, negative, whenever it's different, as a human condition, we find it very difficult to cope. That's proven throughout time. So I think what will happen is naturally there will be negatives and there will be positives. But I think ultimately, as the human race evolves, we will find a way to, harness this technology for better. And I'm very, very excited to see what it's going to do. And, as an educational professional, I very much hope that it will enhance and develop the ability to perform meaningful and engaging education experiences for the youth of tomorrow, and our current present day leaders, and basically everyone on earth. I really hope that technology is the key to the future. So if you've listened to tonight's podcast and you've been interested in any of our responses, which hopefully you have, please email us, drop a comment below, whatever it may be. I know that the gentlemen are keen to discuss more with you. So we look forward to hearing those responses. And guys, until next week, stay safe as always. And from the entire team here, we'll see you all next week.